Minotaur and the Labyrinth. Deep within the Mediterranean island of Crete, legend says King Minos constructed an inescapable subterranean maze to cage a flesh-eating beast, the Minotaur, half man and half bull. Every few years, the city of Athens was forced to send 14 young men and women into the dark labyrinth as human sacrifices, until the hero Theseus navigated the trap and killed the monster. For centuries, historians assumed the labyrinth was purely symbolic. Then, in the early 1900s, archaeologists began excavating a hill at Knossos on Crete. What they uncovered stunned the world. Beneath the soil sat a massive, sprawling Bronze Age palace spanning over 5 acres. It featured more than 1,000 interconnected rooms, dead-end staircases, subterranean chambers, and twisting corridors, so complex that unguided visitors easily lost their way. The architecture itself was a literal labyrinth. But what about the monster inside? Across the palace walls, archaeologists discovered vivid frescoes showing young men and women leaping directly over the horns of charging bulls. This was bull leaping, a real, highly dangerous Minoan sport where a single mistake meant instant death. Combined with records showing mainland Greece paid heavy economic tribute to Crete, the myth of a bull monster devouring young Athenian sacrifices was simply a dramatic retelling of a dominant empire forcing captives into lethal bull rituals inside their bewildering palace. If you want to uncover the hidden reality behind more of history's greatest legends, hit that subscribe button and join History Cartoon for new deep dives every week. The Cyclops, Polyphemus. When Odysseus landed on a mysterious island during his long voyage home from Troy, he encountered Polyphemus the Cyclops, a towering monster with a single massive eye in the middle of his forehead. Polyphemus trapped the Greek sailors inside his cave and began eating them alive, until Odysseus managed to blind the giant with a heated stake and escape concealed under the bellies of sheep. It sounds like pure dark fantasy. Yet the real origin of the Cyclops lay waiting inside the limestone caves of Sicily and Crete. Long before humans inhabited these islands, they were populated by Palaeoloxodon falconeri, a species of prehistoric dwarf elephant. When these animals died out, their massive bones remained preserved underground. Centuries later, when ancient Greek farmers and sailors stumbled into these caves, they discovered massive skulls unlike anything they had ever seen. An elephant's skull features a huge hollow cavity right in the center of its face. To a modern biologist, that cavity is obvious. It is the nasal passage where the trunk attaches. But to an ancient Greek who had never seen a living elephant, a giant head with a massive central hole looked like only one thing: the eye socket of a single-eyed, man-eating giant. Circe the sorceress. Further along his journey, Odysseus arrived on the island of Aea, home to the witch Circe. She invited his crew into her hall, served them a bowl of drugged wine, and stroked them with her wand. Instantly, the men lost their memories, transformed into swine, and were locked inside a pig pen. Odysseus only saved them because the god Hermes handed him a rare plant called moly, which rendered him immune to her spell. Stripped of its mythical framing, Circe was not using magic at all. She was practicing advanced ancient toxicology. Pharmacologists have identified the plant Circe likely used as Datura stramonium, commonly known as Jimson weed. Native to the region, it contains potent anticholinergic toxins like scopolamine. When ingested, it induces severe delirium, extreme amnesia, and a complete loss of willpower, leaving victims groveling on the floor in a helpless, animalistic state. Even more incredible is the cure. Homer describes moly as a plant with a black root and a white flower. Modern medical researchers realize this matches Galanthus nivalis, the snowdrop flower. Snowdrops contain galantamine, a compound used in modern medicine today as a direct biochemical antidote to scopolamine poisoning. The showdown between Odysseus and Circe was actually one of the earliest recorded cases of targeted drug antidote therapy in human history. The Sirens. The myth of the Sirens warned sailors of winged sea creatures whose otherworldly vocal music hypnotized passing crews, causing them to steer their ships straight into jagged coastal rocks. To survive passing their island, Odysseus ordered his men to seal their ears with beeswax, while he had himself bound tightly to the ship's mast, forced to hear their hypnotic song without steering the ship to its doom. The location of the Sirens was historically identified as the Cyrenus Islands off the Amalfi coast of Italy. Navigators who sail these narrow channels today quickly understand how the legend was born. The islands feature unique geological formations, deep hollow sea caves and narrow rock fissures carved out by wave erosion. When strong ocean winds blow through these stone channels at specific angles, the air resonates through the cavern walls, producing eerie, multi-toned harmonic musical whistles that sound remarkably like human voices rising and falling over the water. Compounded by thick sea fogs and the calls of Mediterranean monk seals resting on hidden reefs, disoriented sailors suffered acoustic hallucinations. Hearing phantom melodies echoing around them in the mist, captain after captain turned their wheels toward the sound and shattered their hulls against invisible rocks. The Lernaean Hydra. As one of his 12 legendary labors, the hero Heracles was sent to slay the Lernaean Hydra, a multi-headed serpent lurking in the swamps of Lerna. The beast possessed a deadly trait. Every time Heracles sliced off one of its heads, 2 more sprouted in its place. To defeat it, he had to burn the stumps with fire to keep them from regenerating. While some historians connect this story to early encounters with polycephalic vipers, geologists discovered a much more grounded truth beneath the soil of Lerna. The region of Lerna was notorious for its complex network of subterranean springs and marshy waterways fed by deep underground aquifers. Ancient attempts to drain the swamp for agriculture met with relentless failure. Whenever engineers blocked or diverted one water channel, the underground pressure simply forced the water out through nearby rock fractures, opening up 2 new flooding streams in its place. The Hydra was a literal ecological monster, an unstoppable, multi-headed water flow threatening local settlements. Heracles' battle reflects early Greek hydraulic engineering, where workers used fire-baked clay caps and controlled burnings to seal off underground spring outlets permanently. Medusa the Gorgon. Medusa was a gorgon so terrifying that anyone who looked directly into her eyes was instantly turned to solid stone. Her hair was a mass of writhing venomous snakes, and she terrorized the world until the hero Perseus used a mirror-polished shield to track her reflection and sever her head. For centuries, scholars debated how such a grotesque concept took hold. The answer lies in a deadly combination of ancient geology and pathology. In regions surrounding the Mediterranean, sudden volcanic disasters like the cataclysmic eruption on the island of Ferra frequently buried living human beings in instant clouds of superheated ash and mineralized rain, preserving their bodies as calcified, petrified stone statues caught mid-motion. Simultaneously, ancient doctors were familiar with the terrifying effects of neurotoxic viper bites common in the region. Venom from species like the European viper causes severe neurological shock and rapid muscle ischemia, locking the victim's nervous system into complete, rigid catatonia. A person bitten by these snake-headed creatures would freeze entirely motionless, their bodies calcifying into stone-like rigidity before death. When ancient sculptors carved Medusa's face onto warning amulets, they were portraying the literal face of sudden, paralyzing death.